Early morning, we received the negotiators and some common friends. They came up to our post and put forward some absurd demands on behalf of Hikmat. They stayed with us for some time, had lunch with us, and left. My commanding officer told me that there will be an attack tonight. And I was like, why are you saying that, sir? We just met their representative. They seems to be nice, peaceful people. He said no. They came for recce. They were here to see our strength. And now that they know we are only 19 troops on this post, so they will attack us. So let's prepare. And we started preparing for the expected attack. I was happy that tonight either it will be me or Hikmat. Major Shujat was martyred last week. He was my close friend, a brother to me. It was like a big stone left in my eyes whenever I used to remember him. And then also knowing who his killer was. I just can't wait for getting my hands on Hikmat. And it seems it was tonight. We had early dinner and retreated to our position. It was just an hour before Fajr call for prayer that we noticed some movement from Shikan. Approximately 80 terrorists were racing in their vehicles toward the buffer zone. They stopped their vehicles 1 kilometer away from our post, got on foot and started proceeding in 4 groups towards our post. We could tell the attack would be in 3 directions, with 1 unit providing the cover. I told my men not to open fire till I fire. Hikmat was a very special commander. Raw had trained him very well on VOIDs, suicide vests, IEDs especially. He was a master expert of his work. He was the genius behind the insurgency, you can say. IEDs were damaging us badly. He was very ambitious also. As he was a Mehsud, he thought he had all capability and capacity to replace Baitullah Mehsud. And maybe that would have been correct if Hikmat would have been alive at that time. They had a very unique way of targeting our forces with IED. In morning, their apologists would state up protest sit-ins, gather few hundred men. When our troop would reach the place, they would stop us to enter the premises using the women and children card. And later at night, they would plant the IED at the same place. Next morning, when our second shift would come and the patrol team would visit the place, they would be hit by the IEDs. To be honest, at that time it was a terrible mess and we had no idea how to control these. Hikmat's group was very well organized. They had divided the group into 4 companies. One was the suicide bombers, mostly brainwashed under 18 kids, assassinating Malik's tribal leaders. Second group was IED group, whom Hikmat was leading personally. This group was responsible for 80% of our casualties. Third unit was the ambush party, comprising of 100 men equipped with all sort of attack ammunition. And the fourth group was the peacemaker, the negotiators, same whom we received this morning. They were spies and living within the cities, informing them about our movement. Some were having shops in nearby town. Shops like grocery, vegetables, daily interaction products. It was like a complete syndicate. Anyhow, when we saw them reaching very near to our post, they thought we were sleeping. My men kept looking at me as I told them not to fire till I fire. Now Hikmat's men were barely 10 meters away from us, and they started climbing up the slope of our post. I opened fire. Their bodies were flying, almost vaporizing in the air, just like you put water on an extremely hot oil. The battle went on for few minutes. Many of them killed, many of them got injured. We had injuries also. I can't undermine the fact that they were more than us, and we had to kill many of them. You can say their advance was broken and they started moving back. This is the time when one of my Jawan told me, "Sir, that guy in white turban is Hikmat Mehsud." I immediately stepped up, took my SMG and went down in the buffer zone. When my troops saw me going behind them, 3 of my young officers joined me. This was actually the moment of truth for our soldiers and a moment of surprise for Hikmat. They weren't believing their eyes that how come we were pursuing them. This totally shattered their will to fight and they started running back. As for the last 2 weeks, in all these attacks they made, we would stop fire the moment they went back. I think perhaps this is what maximum restraint meant. I was about to get my hands on Hikmat. He barely entered Afghanistan that I received a command from back that I need to stop. My fellow officers requested me, "Sir, please stop." I had to stop and see Hikmat and his 40 to 50 men running back into Afghanistan. I was so close, but still so far. It was a close call. Hikmat was safe, and we had to wait for another day, another battle. While briefing, I told my commanding officer, "Sir, please, you will not stop me now. One more attack, and we will go into Shikin and hunt down each one of them, and also the raw agents present there." My commanding officer said, "Man, have patience. Things don't go like this." And I replied, "Sir, what patience? They come with comfort, martyr our men, walk back into Afghanistan. Wallah, sir, it's just a matter of one approval, one order. We can take their whole command center down. We have to follow orders," my commander told me. But this time, he was also passively with me. So I said, "Sir, one more time they come, just allow me one time. Just one time." He didn't reply, but he nodded. That was enough for me. He said, "Don't worry, they will come back again. And we will make sure none return this time." Next morning, the peacemaker came and requested us to let them take the bodies. They gave us all the ethics and religious lessons, which they themselves have no idea of. However, we let them take the bodies. They were useless for us anyhow. I knew this attack had shaken Hikmat's confidence, and he will surely seek revenge. Also, peacemakers saw the damage on our post and our injured soldier. They said to us that what has happened has happened. Let's have a fresh start, and they guarantee there will be no attack henceforth, and we should be at our ease also. I could see in their eyes. I knew they are lying, and they are currently contemplating another ambush tonight. I was sure they will come. I will wait for you, hell dog. I will wait to dispatch you to hell. But before that, I take you towards the final battle with Hikmat Mehsud. Let me take you forward few years and also tell you about Hakimullah Mehsud. After Baitullah Mehsud was killed, Hakimullah Mehsud took over as TTP Amir. Hakimullah Mehsud was as rough as a Khawarij Baitullah Mehsud was. Many similarities but few differences also. Hakimullah did not have the personality disorder like Baitullah. He did not want it to be regarded as Mullah Umar of Waziristan. One should imagine the retardedness of these Khawarij, that they declare their rule in 7 to 8,000 men in some remote mountains of Waziristan and immediately name themselves Khalifa of the whole Pakistan, declaring war on Pakistan army and Pakistani civilians. Hello, disillusioned morons. When Pakistan will come behind you, you will have no place to hide. Hakimullah Mehsud once said that he will wear bangles if Pakistan army will ever get closer to Kanigurum, a village near Ladakh, South Waziristan. Hakimullah himself was from Kotkei, but his forces were present within Makin. They used to run up to Shawal Valley whenever they used to get an info that Pakistan army is closing in. His movements were known to us. Kanigurum, Makin, Shawal, our Markhors were long entrenched in these areas. It was a matter of time and, to be honest, a temperament of tolerating his idiot bravados. Well, one fine day, time was up for him and his close 45 men. Some say the drones were flying in the sky. The compound where 45 of his men were present was hit by a drone. They were recovered and buried, but some do say that although the bodies were pretty burnt in the drone attack, but Hakimullah Mehsud did have a hole in his head. You can say it might be a shrapnel one, but locals pointed it to be a bullet wound, a pistol wound. It is unnecessary to get into this how Hakimullah and other 45 men got these bullet wounds. Infighting, ambushed, Hakimullah Mehsud was dead to confirm what happened. But one thing was confirmed. You don't attack Pakistan army and then find yourself safe behind your thousands of men. No matter where you hide, no matter who supports you, no matter which agency is funding you, if you ever dare to touch one of our soldiers, we will come back for you, my friend, and you will find our hand on your neck out of nowhere. Coming back to Angur Adda post, this time they were very predictable. Around 400 hours, mean 4 a.m. in the morning, as expected, we saw 60 to 70 terrorists approaching our post. They were coming in similar formation. But this time I was not in the base. Yes, we were 25 meters inside the buffer zone. And I told my men that no one is supposed to hit Hikmat. I promised myself I will avenge Major Shujat myself. I will not be worth my salt if Hikmat returns alive tonight. Around 4:15 a.m., 15 to 20 men passed our positions. I signaled my team to take vertical position. I was waiting for Hikmat to cross, so he has no way whatsoever to run back in Afghanistan. I kept praying to Allah that, dear Allah, please allow me with a chance to catch this hell dog alive. Around 4:28, I started firing. The moment I opened fire, my team also started firing. There were flashes coming from everywhere. It was a carnage, a mayhem. You can say a kind of a massacre. I'll be very honest with you, we have been up to our necks. We had no plans to take any prisoners. We wanted revenge and we were there for revenge. They had no idea where the fires were coming from and from how many directions. They were so panicked and ill-trained, I would say, that they even started firing at each other. Within 20 minutes, enemy guns were silent. Next day, the peacekeepers came in to collect their bodies. Hikmat had 2 holes in his head. We were more than happy to return their bodies. And they left without saying a word. Not a single terrorist was captured alive. Not a single terrorist was left to tell the tale. Same day later, it was revealed that 9 people were also killed in Hikmat's compound in Shikan, Afghanistan. And many locals said that they saw Hikmat Mehsud in Shikan early morning. The raw operatives reported in their daily log that they had met Hikmat 6:30 a.m. that morning in his compound in Shikan, whereas our gunfight ended completely by 5 a.m. How did Hikmat body was present on our post? Or let me rephrase the question for you. How was Hikmat seen in Shikan at 6:30 when our gunfight supposedly killing Hikmat ended at 5 a.m.? Well, to understand this, it is important to listen to the version and timeline of events given by Indian Raw Agency. Now what I will be telling you is raw version of events. You can judge what happened yourself. The gunfight was intense. We were actually taken by surprise. Pakistan Armed Forces were sitting way ahead of their base, something we were never expecting. There was at least 1 Pakistani officer and 4 soldiers within Afghan territory. We never expected such a preemptive strike by Pakistan. The moment we passed them, we were struck with intense fire from all sides. We totally lost our control for some moments. Bullets were raining down on us from every direction. We had no idea where to fire, whom to fire. If we fired at right, we received fire from above the post, from our back, from our left side. Within few minutes, 25 to 30 of our men were laying dead there. and most of other men were injured. We immediately abandoned our advance and retreated, running back to Shikan. There was no point. Our people on border gave us cover fire and we barely saved our lives, getting a sigh of relief. I was there with Hikmat at his place till 6:30 a.m. and appointed 5 raw commandos outside his place. Around 6:40 I left for our main communications center, and before I left I saw 4 to 5 of close Hikmat aides present with him within the compound. His brother-in-law, his brother and 2 of his close friends. Hikmat was totally saved in the gunfight as Hikmat was way behind the group which was ambushed. We could never imagine that there will be someone coming behind us from the other side of the border, and Pakistani soldiers will cross in into Afghanistan and stay there for hours to take down Hikmat. The ghost was among them. They attacked Hikmat house. They killed our 5 commandos, went in and killed all 4 Hikmat close aides, dragging Hikmat alive right from under our nose to the Angur Adda post. We wanted to stop them but had no support from remaining Hikmat men. Some were injured, some did not want to die. On our side, we already had 5 of our commandos down. High value casualties. 5 commandos dead. This was a major blow for us. Going in for a confrontation meant risking more men. And if Pakistanis would capture any of our commando alive, it would jeopardize our whole covert operation. We kept seeing them, 4 soldiers with 1 officer, all fully covered, were taking Hikmat away in a dreadful manner. First the officer kept dragging him from his hair, then he tied his hands and dragged him with the rope. Hikmat fell on the ground, but the officer kept dragging him. All we could do was to stand and watch. The Pakistani officer knew that we are watching him. He kept on waving towards us and calling us and mocking us, something which made me remember the Kargil war. But in disgust, humiliation and anger, we kept standing there, watching them taking one of our biggest assets, for whom we have worked for the last 4 to 5 years. Well, it was good if it ended here, but it doesn't. The officer, when he reached up his post, he tied Hikmat with a tree, just under Pakistani flag, and asked us to come and take him from there. Hikmat kept shouting for help for the next 3 to 4 hours. Less he knew, it was not just us who wouldn't go up to save him, but not even his own men. As I explained before, the strength of Pakistani soldiers on the post were 17 to 18 men at that time. But it was a matter of high risk and the will to fight, which was present nowhere. After 2 hours, the officer said that he will now kill Hikmat if we don't take him back in next 5 minutes. Hikmat pleaded for help. We remained unmoved. We already had received messages from our command to immediately evacuate all our men and 5 bodies of our commandos to Jalalabad. I was on the phone with Jalalabad consulate that I heard 2 pistol shots. The officer busted 2 holes in Hikmat's head and let the body collapse at the same point. That was the last time I saw Hikmat, and we left immediately for Jalalabad as we had to respond to our casualties inquiry. While few weeks later, when I met one of our source in Shikan, they told me that they received the body of Hikmat tied at the same position with 2 headshots, while the Pakistani soldiers kept looking at us with plain, blank, emotionless face when we were taking down the body from the tree. They told us to sign some documents, returned all bodies to us, offered us to have lunch which they were taking. Of course we refused and we came back with the bodies. This was the raw version of killing Hikmat event. Yes, Hikmat's body was handed over to the local tribals from our Angur Adda post. He had 2 holes in his head, pistol bullets, not assault rifle. And many residents of Shikan confirm They did see Hikmat tied shirtless on Angur Adda post, crying and pleading for help. Perhaps there can be a misconception or misunderstanding. From whom it happened, it is now on you to decide. I did what I was tasked to. I took revenge of Major Shujat and hundreds of our men who were martyred by Hikmat's IEDs. Hikmat was killed in late 2008, and soon after a few months Baitullah Mehsud was taken down, and then Hakimullah Mehsud and many others. After death of Hakimullah Mehsud, Maulvi Radio, another hell dog, Maulvi Fazlullah, he became the Amir of TTP, and he was based in Sawat. I guess it was time for some Rahe Rast. Hikmat Mehsud was dispatched to hell. The hell he deserved. The hell he remains. Killing Hikmat, audiobook by Saariya ends here. You can watch the series in Urdu on Saariya's website or our YouTube channel. Thank you very much.